Well, good evening. There I am. Boo. Hello, my beautiful souls. How are we feeling? How are we all doing this evening? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. My name is Nessa. I am the Silver Succubus, #Snaccubus, and I would love to welcome everybody to my private reading room for the evening. How are we all feeling? Are we feeling good? Are we feeling wonderful? It is the end of the week. It is Friday. And who are the sweet little souls I've got in the library with me this evening? Who are the early birds? Muffin, I see you. Kyle, Kalumi, Rashid. Who else have I got? Bran. Hello. Oh, everyone, how are we? Hi, hello. That would be why. 3 days until your new semester starts. Best of luck, Kyle. The biggest congratulations and affections and hugs go to Muffin for graduating the highest of schools. Yes. Greetings, Bran. Little Nightmares 3. We did so enjoy Little Nightmares 2, did we not, everybody? My goodness. Oh, it was a wonderful time, and I'm so glad you were there to share it with me. Greetings. We have a wonderful evening planned in the library, but first off, let me introduce myself to those new souls who might be lurking. If you are new here, my name is Nessa Noxx. I am the Silver Succubus, #Snaccubus. I am a fantasy variety streamer, aspiring voice artist, and definitely on binaural. There we go. Just double checking. So, hurrah, a toast. Absolutely, everybody raise your glasses. I, in fact, have myself this evening a little bit of iced refreshment, and I just want to check how everybody's feeling, how we all doing on this beautiful Friday Eve. Yes, I am feeling quite good myself, as a matter of fact, and I hope you all are too. There we go, just checking my volume in the stream, don't even mind me. That fireplace do be crackling, don't it? Let me just, there we go. Let me use my magic to calm the flames of the fire and your hearts. Raise thy glasses, yes, celebrations are in order. Thank you so much, Muffin, for joining me this eve. Thank you, everyone. You are indeed early to the library this evening, and we have a wonderful book reading planned. Yes, I have my Bullfinch's Mythology with me, with a beautiful bookmark in it from the last time we were reading. So I am very excited to jump back into the pantheon. What snacks do we have this evening, ladies and gentlemen? If you do get hungry, we do have a free buffet. I am the Snaccubus after all. And my goodness, if I didn't have snacks for my delicious souls. We have pretzels, which is what I will be snacking on. We also have a delicious selection of fruits, lollies, fizzy drinks. If you want juice, imagine similar to a continental breakfast, perhaps, if you will. We have pastries. We have, what else do we have with this glorious? Chocolates, if you're keen on chocolates. I myself will be sticking to some pretzels and some lollies, some gummy worms specifically. I'll never be had. Yes, those those loans though, they do be the longest term relationships in our lives, don't they? allow me a moment, if you will, just to, as we are not necessarily gaming tonight, I might actually see if I can't give you a little bit more silence in the room. Allow me a minute. There we are. Now, let's see if that helps y'all hear me from the back. Can everyone in the back hear me? Is the volume okay for those of you who are just coming in? Everyone grab a seat, grab some snacks from the buffet, and get comfy. Tonight we are going to be reading from Bullfinch's Mythology. Bullfinch's Mythology has a numerous variety of pantheons to select from tonight. We will actually be reading... Oh, adult life. I know. Isn't it nice when we can all just escape it for a little while? Oh my goodness. The stories that I have for you tonight include Apollo and Daphne, Pyramus and Thisbe, and Cephalus and Procrus. But we can skip through the more interesting ones. So let's begin with Apollo and Daphne, shall we? And Daphne, as I'm aware, is I believe that Daphne is also Aphrodite. They're beautiful names for things. So, thank you so much for the hugs and the head patties. We love them, don't we, Glumpy? Yes, yes, yes. I'm hoping that the volume is a little better now and the crackling of the fire is nice and relaxing rather than interfering. As beautiful as a rose. Well, thank you, Rashid. I appreciate you. How sweet you are. Everybody, before we begin as well, I would love to give a wonderful shout out, if I can, to my fabulous members and patrons. Come thither with me, if you will. Hello, I'm Little. Your support is what makes it so much easier and ultimately possible for me to create content for you, to keep on doing my audios, my photo sets, my live streams, and everything else good that you guys enjoy. So a huge thank you goes out to my patrons for this month. Christian, Alchemical Sulfur, Dustin, Ian, Alien Overload, Lotus VA, Bob, Jacob, Elion, Kakiri, Herr Doctor, Emperor Dajo, and Eraviv. Thank you so much. Mwah. And to my members, Snake, Panda, Walker, Nexus, Lotus, Kalumi, and Seth, thank you so much for your support. You know I couldn't do it without you. And I do have a very special members only stream / video planned for this weekend. So we'll just keep that a secret between us, shall we? But yes, a huge thank you goes out to those of you who are giving me your time, giving me your energy, and also helping fund my snack addiction and everything else that comes with streaming. So thank you everyone, regardless of how your support comes. I appreciate it. Even your presence is a present, you know that. So come back to the reading room with me. You are as beautiful and rare as a rose in a sea of lilies. Oh, Muffin, you do certainly know the way to a woman's heart, and it's not through your delicious name, that's for certain. It's through the delicious words you say. My goodness, how am I supposed to survive when I've got cuties like you in my chat? Reacting to funny things. I could indeed do reactions. That is something that is on the horizon. I have many an idea of things that I would like to get accomplished, and so I believe that reacting so far to Honkai videos and trailers has mainly brought out the thirst in me. So He does know how to get thy maidens. Dost thou have an only maidens? Why, sir, what is your family name? Madam, I am circumcised. Dost thou wish to be raised? Oh my goodness, and so early in the evening as well. A power that you will never possess, sir. The powers of getting maidens or knights lies within the personality, the soul, if you will. I truly believe that just being yourself is ultimately the sexiest thing that can attract somebody. I happen to love intellectual stimulation as opposed to physical, so, I mean, there is that. Pay attention to the brevity of your knowledge, and sometimes, sir, that may serve you in claiming maidens for your own. And thus thou shalt have many a conversation to be had with said maidens. Oh, Marvin. Well, I mean, that absolute angel was pretty intent on pulling you. If I'm being honest, what I was reading in this server, oh my goodness, I'll never get over it. I'll never get over how fucking cute you are with your girlfriend. Oh my god, guys. I love being able to watch you grow from souls that do not have necessarily the most confidence in what they have going on to amazing, energetic magnets for beautiful quality of life and love and amazing creativity. It absolutely lights a fire within my soul. Oh my goodness. Beautiful soul from heaven. Oh, you. Speaking of the heavens, though, what a good segue. Shall we get started? So this evening, for you, chat, and everybody, take a seat, grab your blankies, let's get comfy and start with Chapter 3, Apollo and Daphne. Smiling and blushing. Oh, sweet little muffin. You're the one who brought it up, my best boy. So you have to deal with the consequences of your actions. You've made your bed, now you and your girlfriend must go and lie in it and do dirty things to each other. Okay, let's get started. Let me take a little sip of my alcoholic beverage. The ASMR is not on fleek tonight. I apologise. We're just going with it. Your girl is a little tipsy, okay? The Succubus has had one or two sips of her drink. The slime with which the earth was covered by the waters of the flood produced an excessive fertility, which called forth every variety of production, both bad and good. For those of you who were not here last time, this is referring to the land that was flooded, similar to the story of Noah and his ark, but it's really not as it's not as boring as that. It'll be fine. Fate will decide when things happen, and fate has brought a gorgeous goblin king into my realm. Good evening, Jingo. Everybody, a huge, massive thank you must go out to Jingo this evening. I have a very special shout out to give to him because this stream would not be possible without his technological prowess. And he was an absolute gem and helped me last night to fix the absolute monstrosity that was going on with my laptop. So, Jingo, if you will, I would love it if you could pick what I wear for this evening. Do you want to choose what I wear, Jingo? Yes, I was having many a technological issue. My laptop screen was strobing, and your boy came through and helped your girl get it sorted. So yes, a huge massive thank you. Mwah, dragon, welcome, get yourself comfortable. We do have a free buffet, ladies and gentlemen. If you want some snacks or complimentary blankets, they are located behind me, in amongst the books. Get comfy and warm by the fire. Yes, so if you remember, the gods were not happy with the state of things, and then they began to make things their way. So we ended with the story of Pandora, essentially, which is what unleashed the big old things. And give me those dragon wings. Yes, sir. Anything for my Goblin King. And there we go. Guys, if you do want to interact with me in Glomp, by the way, all you have to do is type CMDS with a little exclamation mark in front of it. And thank you so much for the sub, Clarence. I appreciate you. And you can interact with me in Glomp. You can pat my head. You can hug me. You can even give me a little smoochy smooch. So, the slime with which the earth was covered by the waters of the flood produced an excessive fertility, which called forth every variety of production, both bad and good. Among the rest, Python, an enormous serpent, crept forth, the terror of the people, and lurked in the caves of Mount Parnassus. Apollo slew him with his arrows, weapons which he had not before used against any but feeble animals, hares, wild goats, and such game. In commemoration of this illustrious conquest, he instituted the Pythian Games, in which the victor in feats of strength, swiftness of foot, or in the chariot race, were crowned with a wreath of beech leaves, for the laurel was not yet adopted by Apollo as his own tree. Thank you so much for the hugs, and I love the head patties. Oh, they feel so good on my horns. You guys are sweet to me. Don't you go on about bad habits. I think they're the best habits. Nothing is bad about head pads, exactly. We love them. Little scritchies behind the ears. The famous statue of Apollo, called the Belvedere, represents the god after this victory over the serpent Python. So if you're ever curious as to what certain statues in mythology mean when it comes to museums and all that sort of thing, if you see a man with a long danger noodle in his hands, just know that that's Apollo fighting Python. And if that ain't a euphemism for the youth of today, boys, I see you gripping your pythons. Riz, oh my goodness. I'm a little scared to riz you now. Your lady might come after me. But how could I ever not hold a special place in my heart for you, Muffin? After all, you are my favourite snack. So delicious. And I mean, if we're getting dirty... Oh no, I can't get dirty. I cannot get dirty. Your girlfriend will come after me. Muffin, you sweet little snack. Forgive you. Yes, I shall. Consider yourself forgiven. Kyle wants a little riz too. The background music you created for me, Kyle, I think that would make a fantastic soundtrack to our lovemaking, don't you? Let's get on with reading, shall we? Oh, you sweet little things, you're cute. Now, Daphne was Apollo's first love. I am going to confirm exactly who our Lady Daphne is, so I don't get puzzled. But I am almost 90% sure that she is Aphrodite too. Give me un momento. Oh, no, I am mistaken. My apologies profusely. Ladies and gentlemen of the library, Daphne indeed was a naiad nymph of the river Ledon of Arcadia in Thessalia. She was loved by the god Apollo, who pursued her until she grew exhausted and cried out to Gaia for help. That is the story this evening, my apologies. We are starting with a little naiad nymph action. Hello, ladies and gents. Oh, lordy. Sax. A little sax to the track. Well, it's never too late to create your own soundtrack. You know what I mean? Finally has Ways of the Rizzard. It's Fantasy Friday, and I've got some alcohol in me, so it makes the Riz a little easier, a little less awkward. Quantum Rizzix, that's the only qualification I would ever sit down at college for, trust me. So which one of you wants to be my sexy professor? Who do I need to hand my assignments into at the end of class? Now, Daphne was Apollo's first love. It was not brought about by accident, but by the malice of Cupid. Apollo saw the boy playing with his bow and arrows, and being himself elated with his recent victory over Python, he said to him, "What have you to do with warlike weapons, saucy boy? Leave them for hands worthy of them. Behold the conquest I have won, by means of them over the vast serpent who stretched his poisonous body over acres of the plain. Be content with your torch, child, and kindle up your flames, as you call them, where you will, but presume not to meddle with my weapons." I can hooyah, as long as it's quiet in the library. You can chat, you can give a quiet little hooyah if you wish. Hooyah. Oops. Take that, chat. Aphrodite's boy heard these words and rejoined, "Your arrows may strike all things else, Apollo, but mine shall strike you." So saying, he took his stand on a rock of Parnassus and drew from his quiver 2 arrows of different workmanship, one to excite love, the other to repel it. The former was of gold and sharp-pointed, the latter blunt and tipped with lead. With the laden shaft he struck the nymph Daphne, the daughter of the river god Peneus, and with the golden one Apollo through the heart. Forthwith the god was seized with love for the maiden, and she abhorred the thought of loving. Her delight was in woodland sports and in the spoils of the chase. Many lovers sought her, but she spurned them all, ranging the woods and taking no thought of Cupid nor of Hymen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a story very close to my heart. This is giving me the vibes. Mwah. Thank you so much for the kisses and for the legs, dragon. I appreciate you. Her father often said to her, "Daughter, you owe me a son-in-law. You owe me grandchildren." She, hating the thought of marriage as a crime, with her beautiful face tinged all over with blushes, threw her arms around her father's neck and said, "Dearest father, grant me this favour, that I may always remain unmarried, like Diana." He consented, but at the same time said, "Your own face will forbid it." If it's something I like, you'll gladly listen. Oh, and thank you so much for the head patties, Viv. They feel so good against my horns. Welcome in, welcome in. How are you? Apollo loved her and longed to obtain her. And he who gives oracles to all the world was not wise enough to look into his own fortunes. He saw her hair flung loosely over her shoulders, and said, if so charming in disorder, what would it be if arranged? He saw her eyes, bright as stars. He saw her lips, and was not satisfied with only seeing them. He admired her hands and arms, naked to the shoulder, and whatever was hidden from view he imagined more beautiful still. He followed her, and she fled, swifter than the wind, and delayed not a moment at his entreaties. "Stay," he said, "daughter of Peneus, I am not a foe. Do not fly me as a lamb flies the wolf, or a dove the hawk. It is for love I pursue you. You make me miserable, for fear you should fall and hurt yourself on these stones, and I should be the cause. Pray run slower, and I will follow slower. I am no clown, no rude peasant. Jupiter is my father, and I am lord of Delphos and Tenedos, and know all things present and future. I am the god of song and the lyre. My arrows fly true to the mark. But alas, an arrow more fatal than mine has pierced my heart. I am the god of medicine, and know the virtues of all healing plants. Alas, I suffer a malady that no balm can cure." Dramatic much, my goodness. The nymph continued her flight, and left his plea half-uttered, and even as she fled she charmed him. The wind blew loose her garments, and to her unbound hair streamed loose behind her. The god grew impatient to find his wooings thrown away, and, sped by Cupid, gained upon her in the race. It was like a hound pursuing a hare, with open jaws ready to seize, while the feebler animal darts forward, slipping from the very grasp. So flew the god and the virgin, he on the wings of love, and she on those of fear. The pursuer is the more rapid, however, and gains upon her, and his panting breath blows upon her hair. Her strength begins to fail, and, ready to sink, she calls upon her father, the river god. "Help me, Peneus, open the earth." "Enclose me or change my form, which has brought me into this danger." Scarcely had she spoken, when a stiffness seized all her limbs. Her bosom began to become enclosed in a tender bark. Her hair became leaves. Her foot stuck fast in the ground, as a root. Her face became a treetop, retaining nothing of its former glory itself but its beauty. Apollo stood amazed. He touched the stem, and felt the flesh tremble under the new bark. He embraced the branches, and lavished kisses upon the wood. The branches shrank from his lips. "Since you cannot be my wife," said he, "you shall assuredly be my tree. I will wear you for my crown. I will decorate with you my harp and my quiver, and when the great Roman conquerors lead up the triumphal pomp to the Capitol, you shall be woven into wreaths for their brows, and as eternal youth is mine, you, too, also shall always be green, and your leaf shall know no decay." The nymph, now changed into a laurel tree, bowed its head in grateful acknowledgment. That Apollo should be the god both of music and poetry will not appear strange, but that medicine should also be assigned to his province may. The poet, Armstrong, himself a physician, thus accounts for it. Music exalts each joy, allays each grief, expels diseases, softens every pain, and hence the wise of ancient days adored one power of physic, melody, and song. I do agree with that statement. Music itself can be quite the medicine. Would you not agree, chat? I have in fact made my playlists on Spotify part of my profile now, so I will share my profile in my Discord server later in the Tunes channel, should you wish to enjoy any of the medicinal moods that I have created within that application. You fancy mortals and your futuristic things. The story of Apollo and Daphne is often alluded to by the poets. But alas, that is where the story of Apollo and Daphne leads to, the representation of her standing as crowns upon his head in exchange for her life as a nymph in her physical body. I can understand an exchange from one physical to another. Hello? My goodness. Give me a moment, chat. Never mind. Hydrate and stretch. Thank you so much. I will do now that I have finished that little story. Oh, and a stretch as well. Thank you. Now, if we're still all feeling quite good, I think we might be able to move on to the next story. I'm making sure this story is going to be interesting. Aren't they all such stories of just men chasing women they can't attain? My goodness. I shall tell you these stories. They are quite entertaining. If I'm honest, they remind me of my own story. All right. Pyramus and Thisbe. Thisbe? Chat, if anyone does have the correct enunciation, please let me know. Pyramus was the handsomest youth, and Thisbe the fairest maiden, in all of Babylonia, where Semiramis reigned. Oof, what a name. Their parents occupied adjoining houses, and the neighbourhood brought the young people together, and acquaintance ripened into love. They would gladly have married, but their parents forbade. One thing, however, they could not forbid, that love should glow with equal ardour in the bosoms of both. They conversed by signs and glances, and the fire burned more intensely for being covered up. In the wall that parted the two houses, there was a crack, caused by some fault in the structure. No one had remarked it before, but the lovers discovered it. What will love not discover? It afforded a passage to the voice, and tender messages used to pass backwards and forwards through the gap. As they stood, Pyramus on this side, Thisba on that, their breaths would mingle. "Cruel wall," they said, "why would you keep two lovers apart? But we will not be ungrateful. We owe you, we confess, the privilege of transmitting love and loving words to willing ears." Such words they uttered on different sides of the wall, and when night came and they must say farewell, they pressed their lips upon the wall, she on her side and he on his, and they could come no nearer. Oof. Type it in and find out, Muffin. It's mainly to save me having to repeat myself, but I feel like it's gonna happen anyway. But yes, you can type !CMDS, and it basically gives you directions to check out the info box for any commands. So as you are irregular and you already know my commands mostly, that is mainly for the newbies that come in. I didn't want my repetitiveness to get too annoying for the regulars, if you understand me. The next morning, when Aurora had put out the stars and the sun had melted the frost from the grass, they met at the accustomed spot. Then, after lamenting their hard fate, they agreed that the next night, when all was still, they would slip away from watchful eyes, leave their dwellings and walk out into the fields, and to ensure a meeting, repair to a well-known edifice standing within the city's bounds, called the Tomb of Ninus, and that one who came first should await the other at the foot of a certain tree. It was a white mulberry tree and stood near a cool spring. All was agreed on, and they waited impatiently for the sun to go down beneath the waters and rise up during the night, just for them. Then cautiously Thisba stole forth, unobserved by her family, her head covered with a veil, made her way to the monument and sat down under the tree. As she sat alone, in the dim light of the evening, she descried a lioness, her jaws reeking with recent slaughter, approaching the fountain to slake her thirst. Thisbe fled at the sight, and sought refuge in the hollow of a rock. As she fled, she dropped her veil. The lioness, after drinking at the spring, turned to retreat to the woods, and, seeing the veil on the ground, tossed and rent it with her bloody mouth. Thank you, Muffin. May I be honest, I stole it from some naughty Twitch streamers. They have it type S for socials, womp womp, and it sends you to their OnlyFans and their Fansly and their this and their that. That's mainly just to direct people to my info box, which is where all my info is. Where was I? Pyramus, having been delayed, now approached the place of meeting. He saw in the sand the footsteps of the lion, and the colour fled from his cheeks at the very sight. Presently he found the veil all rent and bloody. "O hapless girl," said he, "I have been the cause of thy death. Thou, more worthy of life than I, hast fallen the first victim. I will follow. I am the guilty cause in tempting thee forth to a place of such peril, and not being myself on the spot to guard thee. Come forth, ye lions, from the rocks, and tear this guilty body with your teeth." He took up the veil, carried it with him to the appointed tree, and covered it with kisses and with tears. "My blood also shall stain your texture," said he, and drawing his sword, plunged it into his heart. The blood spurted from the wound, and tinged the white mulberries of the tree all red, and sinking into the earth reached the roots, so that the red colour mounted through the tree and the trunk to the fruit. By this time, Thisba, still trembling with fear, yet wishing not to disappoint her lover, stepped cautiously forth, looking anxiously for the youth, eager to tell him the danger she had escaped. When she came to the spot and saw the changed colour of the mulberries, she doubted whether it was the same place. While she hesitated, she saw the form of one struggling in the agonies of death. She started back. A shudder ran through her frame as a ripple on her face of the still water when a sudden breeze sweeps over it. But as soon as she recognized her lover, she screamed and beat her breast, embracing the lifeless body, pouring tears into its wounds and imprinting kisses on the cold lips. "Oh, Pyramus," she cried, "what has done this? Answer me, Pyramus. It is your own Thisba that speaks. Hear me, dearest, and lift that drooping head." Thank you for the huggies and the head patties. Mwah. So what happens next, I wonder? At the name of Thisba, Pyramus opened his eyes, then closed them again. She saw her veil stained with blood and the scabbard empty of its sword. "Thy own hand has slain thee, and for my sake," she said, "I too can be brave for once, and my love is as strong as thine. I will follow thee into death, for I have been the cause, and any death which alone could part us shall not prevent my joining thee. And yea, unhappy parents of us both, deny us not our united request. As love and death have joined us, let one tomb contain us. And thou, tree, retain the marks of slaughter. Let thy berries still serve for memorials of our blood." So saying, she plunged the sword into her breast. Her parents ratified her wish. The gods also ratified it. The two bodies were buried in one sepulchre, and the tree ever after brought forth purple berries, as it does to this day. Yes, mythology and religion can be quite brutal, and is love not the most brutal story of all? My goodness. If any of our young readers can be so hard-hearted as to enjoy a laugh at the expense of poor Pyramus and Thisba, they may find an opportunity by turning to Shakespeare's play of the Midsummer Night's Dream, where it is almost amusingly burlesqued. Not a wonder then that I was delving into my Shakespearean roots, reading the "Oh, thou hast thee, and thou hast this and that." My goodness. So that is the story of Pyramus and Thisba. Young love. Oh my goodness, it's very reminiscent of Romeo and Juliet, is it not? One lover coming to the scene, being shocked at the death of the other lover, sacrificing themselves to join them in death only for the other lover to come back and say, "I was alive," but then sacrifice themselves once more for their love. It guys, it's not what love should be, just so you know. It's a bit of a red flag. Raiden Shogun, you never know, that could be her origin lore. That's the reason she pulls it from her breast, because she had to seppuku herself at one stage for her love. Chat, make sure you're enjoying the refreshments and the comfortable blankets and pillows we have available behind me. Warm yourselves by the fireplace if you so wish to. Oh, Muffin, have you I will look at it after we have finished our reading, that is for sure. Or on my next Bacon Really Burned, which I shall actually be taking soon, as a matter of fact. What good timing. Muffin, I'll look at it on my little break. So guys, I think we might have 5 minutes, and then I can move on with the story when we get back. But let's just hang out for 5 minutes, and then I'll go to a BRB, and you can play with Glomp while I'm gone. I'm thinking of having an asset made where my my character has her claws clasping a book. And this is the sound of the bookmark that I made. I wonder what your favorite ASMR triggers are, chat. If you would like to let me know, I would be very interested to find out. While I go to a Bacon Really Burn, feel free to put up some of your favorite audio triggers in chat, some of the sounds that you like to listen to. Perhaps it's the crackling of a fireplace, perhaps it's the running water of a stream, sounds of birds and wind in the forest. Perhaps it's the sound of rain against the roof, or a cat purring, perhaps. Let me know in chat. Let me know what your favourite audio triggers are. I will be doing ASMR every Friday, so I would love to know some new little things that I can try out. But I am going to mosey on over to the buffet, indulge in some of the snacks myself, and when I come back in 5 minutes from now, we will continue on with the story. Behave yourselves while I am gone, and feel free to interact with Glomp and give him some head patties. I'll be back soon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, we are back, we are back. Ah, yes, that is what it does. Fancy, fancy. Welcome in, Maxwell, for the evening. I hope you're doing fabulously. Everybody else, how we feeling? How we doing? Welcome to Late Night Nessa FM. Keeping you company with a little bit of mythology later in the day. It might be morning where you are, it might be afternoon, it could be night, but whatever time of day or night it is where you are, I hope you're doing well. Tonight on Nessa FM we have a few stories about some boys chasing girls, as you do. What's new? What's good? Thank you so much, Dragon. Break was good. It gave me a good chance to stretch these noodly limbs. Muffin, I ate the rest of my pretzels. I took a couple of handfuls from the buffet. Don't worry, guys, I don't got the cooties. I don't got the cooties. Even though I've stuck my sticky mitts in the bowl of pretzels, you can still share them, don't worry. I do have some lollies to munch on later, but for now I think I'm going to stick to my alcoholic beverage, and we'll finish off a couple more stories before the evening concludes. How does that sound? I will let you know that next time I will be plugging in my headphones as well. I have actually managed to find a good pair of headphones that fit over my horns, would you believe it? So I can plug them in and see exactly how I sound for you guys. Sneaking in. Well, it is library night, so I suppose a silent entrance is always the best kind, but hello, Walker. Good day to you, sir. How are you doing, my love? Do not be sorry you're late. Pull up a blankie and a pillow and get comfy. Although you are at work, so perhaps comfy will have to come later. Especially when I get onto that game of Battlefield with you this weekend, as promised. You better hit me up about it. So how are we all feeling? How are we all doing? Our 5 minutes is over and we're going to jump back into some stories. Walker's been exponentially busy with work. I did see his tag in the server, so yes, he's been very, very, very busy boy working. Such a good boy you are, Walker. Such a good boy. Are we ready, chat, to continue with the reading? Oh, Muffin still owes Walker some McDonald's. He's just asking if you still want it. Boys, you make me smile. Now, this is the story of Cephalus and Procrus. Now, please, ladies and gentlemen, I'm loving that nobody brought up Peneus in the previous story. And Cephalus in this story is spelled with a Cephalus. But some of these names, it's not a surprise why some of these, my goodness. It makes you wonder whether they've had any influence on present day situations. Cephalus was a beautiful youth and fond of manly sports. He would rise before the dawn to pursue the chase. Aurora saw him when she first looked forth, fell in love with him and stole him away. But Cephalus was just married to a charming wife whom he devotedly loved, and her name was Procrus. Maxwell, yes, I'm back. I just had to get up and stretch my legs and refresh myself. Indulge in a little bit of the devil's lettuce. Gardening, there you go. I'll call it gardening. Thank you. Yes, I did a little bit of gardening on my VRB. Procrus was a favourite of Artemis, the goddess of hunting, who had given her a dog which could outrun any rival, and a javelin which would never fail of its mark. And Procrus gave these presents to her husband. Cephalus was so happy in his wife that he resisted all the entreaties of Aurora, and she finally dismissed him in displeasure, saying, "Go, ungrateful mortal, keep your wife, whom, if I am not much mistaken, you will one day be very sorry you ever saw again." Cephalus returned and was happy as ever in his wife and his woodland sports. Now it happened some angry deity had sent a ravenous fox to annoy the country, and the hunters turned out in great strength to capture it. Their efforts were all in vain. No dog could run it down, and at last they came to Cephalus to borrow his famous dog, whose name was Laylaps. No sooner was the dog let loose than he darted off quicker than their eye could follow. If they had not seen his footprints in the sand, they would have thought he flew. Cephalus and the others stood on a hill and saw the race. The fox tried every art. He ran in a circle and turned on his track, the dog close upon him, with open jaws snapping at his heels, but biting only the air. Cephalus was about to use his javelin when suddenly he saw both dog and game stop instantly. The heavenly powers who had given both were not willing that either should conquer. In the very attitude of life and action, they were turned to stone. So lifelike and natural did they look, you would have thought, as you looked at them, that one was going to bark, the other to leap forward. Cephalus, though he had lost his dog, still continued to take delight in the chaos. He would go out at early morning, ranging the woods and hills unaccompanied by anyone, needing no help, for his javelin was a sure weapon in all cases. Fatigued with hunting, when the sun got high he would seek a shady nook where a cool stream flowed, and, stretched on the grass, with his garments thrown aside, would enjoy the breeze. Oh, Jay, welcome to the stream for the evening. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad I was in your recommended. Let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Nessa. I'm a fantasy variety streamer and a voice artist, so I like that you like my voice. Thank you. Goodbye, Walker, and good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you this weekend. Good night. Mwah. Yes, Jay, we have a free buffet and some blankies and pillows at the back if you want to get comfy for the mythology reading. Sometimes Cephalus would say aloud, oh no, I lost my place. There we go. Sometimes Cephalus would say aloud, "Come, sweet breeze, come and fan my breast, come and allay the heat that burns me." Someone passing by one day heard him talking in this way to the air, and, foolishly believing that he was talking to a maiden, went and told the secret to Procris, Cephalus's wife. Love is credulous. Procris, at the sudden shock, fainted away. Presently recovering, she said, "It cannot be true. I will not leave it unless I myself am a witness to it." So she waited with anxious heart till the next morning, when Cephalus went to hunt as usual. Then she stole out after him and concealed herself in the place where the informer directed her. Cephalus came as he was wont when tired with sport, and stretched himself on the green bank, saying, "Come, sweet breeze, come and fan me. You know how I love you. You make the groves and my solitary rambles delightful." He was running on this way when he heard, or thought he heard, the sound of a sob in the bushes. Supposing it was a wild animal, he threw his javelin at the spot. A cry from his beloved Procris told him that the weapon had too surely met its mark. He rushed to the place and found her bleeding, and with sinking strength, endeavouring to draw forth from the wound the javelin, her own gift. Cephalus raised her from the earth, strove to stanch the blood, and called her to revive, and not to leave him miserable, to reproach himself with her death. She opened her feeble eyes and forced herself to utter these few words. I implore you, if you have ever loved me, if I have ever deserved kindness at your hands, my husband, grant me this last request. Do not marry that odious breeze. This disclosed the whole mystery. But alas, what advantage to disclose it now? She died, but her face wore a calm expression, and she looked pityingly and forgivingly on her husband when he made her understand the truth. Mwah, in his legendary ballads, had one such ballad for Cephalus and Procris, beginning thus. A hunter once in a grove reclined, to shun the noon's bright eye, and oft he wooed the wandering wind, to cool his brow with its sigh, while mute lay even the wild bee's hum, nor breath could stir the aspen's hair. His song was still, sweet air, O come, while echoed answered, come, sweet air. Thank you so much for the hugs and the head patties. I appreciate you, Muffin. And thus, what a way to end such a set of love stories, each with their own tragic ending. Some beginning with unrequited love, others ending with a desperate attempt to reignite love. So sad, so sad. Thank you so much for the hugs, Kyle. If you have watched my original lore video, you will know that I myself have a very similar story of transformation through the betrayal of love. Huh. Ha. Don't make me laugh. Love, my goodness. What a silly thing. What a silly thing with love. Where has all your energy gone? Come, sweetheart. Your energy. I swear I have not taken any. Perhaps I can give you some good energy. Pasha, 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 pasha. Pasha, pasha, pasha. Pasha, 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 pasha. There is a fourth chapter that we will be moving on with. The fourth chapter includes Juno and her rivals, Io and Callisto, Diana and Actaeon, and Latona and the Rustics. I am immensely looking forward to the story of Diana and Actaeon because, my goodness, Diana, aka Artemis, is my patron deity after all. She gave me her blessing. Great background noise while you do paperwork. What an adult thing to be doing. I'm very proud of you. Lacking motivation. Before we move on to the next part of the story, I think I might touch on that subject a little because I feel you, Kyle. I feel you. I myself have been lacking quite the motivation lately and energy to get things accomplished, but something that I often find helps me is to remove myself from the environment that I am procrastinating in or feeling a lack of energy. And I will remove myself entirely and perhaps listen to some music or colour in or do some reading or writing. But I find it helps to firstly remove yourself and get yourself into a neutral headspace. And then, when you feel reinvigorated at a base level, you've had something to eat and drink and you feel fulfilled, it's good to sit down and re-establish what our goals are and our why, our reason why. Our why is something that will continue to change throughout our lives. Sometimes our why might be influenced by those around us or a project that we wish to complete, but as a generality, your why will stay with you throughout your life, and it will just be malleable and adapt to fit your motivations at the time. So, to sit down and establish your why in a personal sense and a business sense can sometimes reinvigorate you and motivate you in a way that it reminds you why you are working so hard. And if I might, I would like to give you a quote from a book that I've been reading recently. Let me get it off one of my shelves. Oof, sorry about that. The book is by Emma Isaacs. It's called The New Hustle, and I have been reading it recently, and there's a few lines that have come up that rang clear with me. And one such quote is this. The problem with the traditional sense of hustling is that it measures input and not necessarily output. Let me say that again. The problem with the traditional sense of hustling is that it measures input and not necessarily output. Sometimes, if we are lacking motivation on a day and we have a list of things that we need to accomplish or stuff that we want to do, and we're not quite there mentally or physically, you are well within your rights to take a day. No one will get mad at you for taking time off but you. And to train your brain not to get mad at yourself is something that will take time, but you need to realize that the input and the output aren't necessarily an equal balance, and sometimes it's about working smarter, not harder, and coming back to something with a fresh perspective or a renewed sense of reason can end up with a better result, even if it is delayed. So that would be my little piece of advice. Washing dishes, let's go. Viv, we love a clean environment. A clean environment does help with a clean mental state, and I did clean my house today and feel much better from it. I feel that cleaning things can be therapeutic in a way that it helps you physically feel like you're cleaning away the old energy and bringing in the new. And I did hear something once, I forget where I heard it, but apparently in Feng Shui, if you have a clean stovetop, it is a magnet for money. Having a clean stovetop and a clean area, whatever Americans call it, it's just the stove top, wherever you put your pots and pans, where the burners are. Apparently having a clean one of those is a money manifester, and whether or not that's true is entirely up to your perception, but maybe it's just me putting that little energy out to the universe. But every time I clean my countertop, or my stovetop, I apologize, I think, there you go, money manifesting. And perhaps that is what has been a success for me so far. One quote I try to live by, which is countless candles can be ignited from a single candle without diminishing the original fire. Happiness never diminishes by being shared. That is a wonderful quote, Kyle, and I really do like that. Based on that quote, your goal is to ignite as many candles as you can in this world before you go poof. That's a really lovely sentiment, Kyle. I truly, truly am grateful that you are living with that as your primary foundational why. That is a very good why. Very good. Your house is always clean and you're still broke, so it's a lie. Oh, Muffin. One thing that I have learned is that money is energy, and sometimes a lack of money from certain places can end up better in some circumstances, because the money that comes from stress only ends up adding more stress into, how do I say this? The stress of having to earn that money outweighs the value of the money itself. Does that make sense? Again, it's the input and the output. Sometimes the input of energy into things that will guaranteed make you money might not actually guaranteedly bring you to a state where you can maintain it in a healthy energetic sense. Trust me on that. Shine a light until the sky is burning. Oh, a gym track. Make sure you put it in the Tunes channel on the DC, because I know that we've got a lot of gym boys that would definitely appreciate some motivational music. Trust. So if we're feeling good, chat, I think we'll continue on with the reading. Why not? But I am in fact Ooh, sorry. Zoom. I am in fact making the effort to make sure I read more literature this year. I will be reading the Lord of the Rings series later in the year. I'm not sure whether I can do it on stream or not yet, but I will be indulging in my world of Tolkien for the first time officially, book-wise. Well, I've read The Hobbit, but Lord of the Rings I will be reading towards the end of the year. I believe I will start on my birthday or mid-year, and then continue and hopefully finish the series before the new Lord of the Rings series is released. The name escapes me right now, but it is based on the Mines of Moria. Pete and a banana in the chat. Hello, my lovely love. Mwah, welcome for the evening. We have complimentary snacks and a free buffet behind me. We also have pillows and blankies if you would like to get comfy. How are you? So my plan is to read The Lord of the Rings before the new series is released. I'm desperately trying to quickly find and seamlessly find the name of the series, but it is not happening right now. The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria is a new game that's coming out. Is it a new... Okay, there's two things coming out at the end of the year. There is going to be a Return to Moria game, which is exciting. There is also Tales of the Shire that's getting released this year, which I'm very keen for. But there's animated. There's actually an anime series that is being released. It is being voiced over by Eowyn from The Two Towers, and that focuses on the horse lords of why can I not remember this right now? Either way, I will find out more information. I will put them in the server. I am so apologetic right now. I am a little tipsy and I'm finding it hard to... I was about to Google something very silly that would not have given me my answer, so I apologise, but just know that I do have game lore. Yeah, sure, put it in the creative chats channel. Oh, got some loud and lousy mortals outside my house going zoom. Oh my goodness, this mansion might be large, but evidently the soundproofing on my windows doesn't help. So wholesome. So wholesome. I'm good. I'm really good. I'm good. Thank you for asking, Anna Banana. Will there be Genshin again? Yes. Yes, there will. Especially since that Alachino video that you sent me. Woo, your girl's got to grind. Your girl's gonna have to jump. I'll have to bring in the whole squad. I'll have to get together a squad night. And I'll have to make sure that we jump in. Me, Rain, Muffin, Panda, and anyone else that might like to join. Although you can only have 4 in a squad at one time. But we will definitely have to get a grindin' because Alachino, ooh, I will take a delicious hot cup of Alachino, please. With a little biscuit on the side and a little sprinkle of sugar on top. Ooh. Use Discord later to enlighten you. I shall. Trust me in that my brain just goes a mile a minute when it comes to anything that related, and I wormholed. The point was, I was saying that I was reading more literature. That was the reason I was reading that. But the book I mentioned before, The New Hustle by Emma Isaacs, I am actually making the effort to read some more self-help books so that I can hopefully pass that information and some knowledge on to you guys from whatever I learn. Tale of Urena is nearing completion. Oh, speedometer. They want to take it. They want to turn it up to 11. Honestly, I needed Alachino in my life before I even knew that she had such power to her. The power of the power of the back shot. Don't clip me. But it's the power of the back shot, isn't it? A kind of pickup line. Oh, Kyle, do you want to riz me? Oh, please, you're more than welcome to. We have another minute before I jump back into reading. If you would like to riz me, now's the time, Kyle. Kyle says, hey, girl. You my homework. Because I should be doing you right now. But I'm getting distracted. Oh my god, do not be sorry. Hello, that's a good line, son. That's a 10 out of 10. Yo. That reminds me of one that's like, hey girl, are you a really good library book? Because I can't stop checking you out. And I don't think I want to return you either. They're going to have to find me. Oh my goodness. It's a great line. 10 out of 10. Keep that in the bank because that's going to get you a phone number one day, if not more. Hello. If she doesn't like giggle and accept your offer of a drink after that, she's not the one for you. Hit right between the... Well, I mean, what are we shooting here? Yes, it was a good line. See, chat, this is why I say that you should write my riz for me. You're out here putting me to absolute shame sometimes, the lines that you'll come up with. Now, without further ado... I used to be a nihilist, but my life can't be pointless. You're in it. Aww. Oh, there goes my bookmark. Thank goodness I kept the page where it was. Oh, and we have lovely pictures. Lovely pictures in this book. They've got really nice pictures. I should do like a hand cam or something one day so I can actually show you the pictures that are in the book. Now we move to chapter 4, Juno and her rivals, Io and Callisto. Juno one day perceived it suddenly grow dark. and immediately suspected that her husband, Zeus, had raised a cloud to hide some of his doings that would not bear the light. She brushed away the cloud and saw her husband on the banks of a glassy river, with a beautiful heifer standing near him. Let's wait for these noisy mortals outside my dorsals. Juno suspected the heifer's form concealed some fair nymph of mortal mould, as was indeed the case, for it was Io, the daughter of the river god Inachus, whom Zeus had been flirting with, and, when he became aware of the approach of his wife, had changed her into that form. Juno joined her husband and, noticing the heifer, praised its beauty and asked whose it was, and of what herd. Zeus, to stop questions, replied that it was a fresh creation from the earth. Juno asked to have it as a gift. What could Zeus do? He was loath to give his mistress to his wife, yet how refuse so trifling a present as a simple heifer? He could not without exciting suspicion, so he consented. The goddess was not yet relieved of her suspicions, so she delivered the heifer to Argus to be strictly watched. Kyle, that is a very good line as well. The intellectual riz is astounding. Another 10 out of 10, and you're teaching me words that I don't even know, so there you go. Mwah, thank you, dragon. Now Argus had 100 eyes in his head and never went to sleep with more than 2 at a time, so that he kept watch of Io constantly. He suffered her to feed through the day, and at night tied her up with a vile rope around her neck. She would have stretched out her arms to implore freedom of Argus, but she had no arms to stretch out, and her voice was a bellow that frightened even herself. She saw her father and her sisters, went near them, and suffered them to pat her back, and heard them admire her beauty. Her father reached her a tuft of grass, and she licked the outstretched hand. She longed to make herself known to him, and would have uttered her wish, but alas, words were wanting. At length she bethought herself of writing, and inscribed her name, it was a short one, with her hoof on the sand. Inachus recognized it, and discovering that his daughter, whom he had long sought in vain, was hidden under this disguise, mourned over her, and embracing her white neck exclaimed, "Alas, my daughter, it would have been a less grief to have lost you altogether." While he thus lamented, Argus, observing, came and drove her away, and took his seat on a high bank, from whence he could see all around in every direction. Oh my goodness. We've got the punny man coming in, Kyle, and Muffin with his little bit of riz. Zeus was troubled at beholding. Oh goodness, OBS, reconnection successful. This modern technology has been giving me grief lately. Might I ask whether I am still connected and live, and you can all hear me okay? And I might have been lagging for a little bit there. I apologize. Welcome, made it back and just in time as well. Thank you so much for joining me again. Welcome back. Returned from the eternal winter, we see and hear you. Wonderful, wonderful. Speaking of the eternal winter, I am planning on playing We Were Here Too after stream, so a little more snowy puzzles in store for me. The moon and its stars will always shine at night, but your beauty will always be as radiant as the morning sun, shining brightly and everlasting. It's so beautiful. I like it. You're going to be saying these to your woman on like a weekly basis, by the way. Zeus, I apologize, was troubled at beholding the sufferings of his mistress and called Mercury and told him to go and dispatch Argus. Mercury made haste, put on his winged slippers and cap on his head, took his sleep-producing wand, and leapt down from the heavenly towers to the earth. For those that aren't aware, Mercury is also Hermes, the messenger god. Reading tarot cards, no, but that will be something that I'm doing for my members, hopefully, in the next couple of days. Hopefully. That's a plan. Good. Oh my goodness, Walker, you should be meditating with those crystals. Oh. Mercury made haste and leapt down from the heavenly towers to the earth. There he laid aside his wings and kept only his wand, with which he presented himself as a shepherd driving his flock. As he strolled on, he blew upon his pipes. These were what are called the syrinx or Pandean pipes. Let's my drink. Argus listened with delight, for he had never seen the instrument before. "Young man," he said, "come and take a seat by me on this stone. There is no better place for your flocks to graze in than hereabouts, and here is a pleasant shade such as shepherds love." Hermes sat down, talked and told stories till it grew late, and played upon his pipes his most soothing strains, hoping to lull the watchful eyes to sleep, but all in vain, for Argus still contrived to keep at least some of his eyes open, though he shut the rest. Among other stories, Hermes told him how the instrument on which he played was invented. There was a certain nymph whose name was Syrinx, who was much beloved by the satyrs and spirits of the wood, but she would have none of them, but was a faithful worshipper of Artemis and followed the chase. You would have thought it was Artemis herself had you seen her in her hunting dress, only that her bow was of horn and Diana's of silver. One day, as she was returning from the chase, Pan met her, told her just this, and added more of the same sort. She ran away without stopping to hear his compliments, and he pursued till she came to the bank of the river, where he overtook her, and she had only time to call for help on her friends, the water nymphs. They heard and consented. Pan threw his arms around what had supposed to be the form of a nymph, and found he embraced only a tuft of reeds. As he breathed a sigh, the air sounded through the reeds and produced a plaintive melody. The god, charmed with the novelty and with the sweetness of the music, said, "Thus, then, at least, you shall be mine." And he took some of the reeds, and placing them together, of unequal length side by side, made an instrument which he called Syrinx, in honor of the nymph. Before Mercury had finished his story, he saw Argus's eyes all asleep, as his head nodded forward on his breast. Mercury, with one stroke, cut his neck through, and tumbled his head down the rocks. "O hapless Argus, the light of your 100 eyes is quenched at once." Juno took them and placed them as ornaments on the tail of her peacock, where they remained this day. But the vengeance of Juno was not yet satiated. The helicopter going overhead. Give me a moment, chat. He's a wizard, Harry. Oh, God. Getting raised up by Muffin in the chat. Racing while I'm reading Mythology? Well, as long as you're keeping it quiet in the library, I don't mind at all. Helicopter, helicopter. Yes. So there we go. Juno took them and put them as ornaments on the tail of her peacock, where they remain to this day. That is why you see the vision of an eye in the tail of a peacock. It is because they are Argus's eyes. Possibly all 100 of them. You can square root me. That's all I've got for you right now. I've got to finish the story. But the vengeance of Juno was not yet satiated. She sent a guard fly to torment Io, who fled over the whole world from its pursuit. She swam through the Ionian Sea, which derived its name from her, then roamed across the plains of Illyria, ascended Mount Haemus, and crossed the Thracian Strait, thence named the Bosphorus, rambled on through Scythia and the country of the Cimmerians, and at last arrived on the banks of the Nile. At length Zeus interceded for her, and upon his promising not to pay her any more attentions, Juno consented to restore her form. It was curious to see her gradually recover her former self. The coarse hairs fell from her body, her horns shrank up, her eyes grew narrower, her mouth shorter. Hands and fingers came instead of hooves to her forefeet. In fine, there was nothing left of the heifer, except her beauty. At first she was afraid to speak, for fear she should low, but gradually she recovered her confidence and was restored to her fathers and sisters. That also tells you the story of where the pan flute came from, just so there you go. That's where the pan flute came from. And if you happen to be a girl and Zeus wants your attention, probably wouldn't give it to him because he might have an angry wife that will turn you into a heifer. Oop. When did I say one stroke? To impress the chick, do the helicopter dig. It's okay when it's in a three-way. It's not gay if it's in a three-way. With the honey in the middle, there's some leeway. I love that song. Absolute banger. Send me this book, I need it. This book is Bullfinch's Mythology. I purchased it while I was on a holiday in Melbourne. I went on a holiday by myself to Melbourne when I was 19 or 20, and I purchased it almost as soon as I got off the plane. I went to my motel and I put my things away, and then I took a walk, and this was in a bookstore not far from where I not far from where I took my repose. Straight to jail. You say a pickup line, straight to jail. You don't say a pickup line, jail. You funny, jail. Not funny, jail. Here, everything is jail. Horny jail. We are coming up on another story. Allow me to... Oh, it is only a short one, so we will move through the story of Callisto as well. And, ironically... Walker. Ironically, Callisto was another maiden who excited the jealousy of Juno, and the goddess changed her into a bear. I will take away, said she, that beauty with which you have captivated my husband. Down fell Callisto on her hands and knees. She tried to stretch out her arms in supplication. They were already beginning to be covered with black hair. Her hands grew rounded, became armed with crooked claws, and served for feet. Her mouth, which Zeus used to praise for its beauty, became a horrid pair of jaws. Her voice, which, if unchanged, would have moved the heart to pity, became a growl more fit to inspire terror. Yet her former disposition remained, and, with continual groaning, she bemoaned her fate and stood upright as well as she could, lifting up her paws to beg for mercy, and felt that Zeus was unkind, though she could not tell him so. Ah, how often, afraid to stay in the woods all night alone, she wandered about the neighbourhood of her former haunts. How often, frightened by the dogs, did she, so lately a huntress, fly in terror from the hunters. Come later, maybe save that for your woman. Hey, yo! Mic drop. You're all in horny jail. Often she fled from the wild beasts, forgetting that she was now a wild beast herself, and bear as she was afraid of the bears. One day a youth espied her as he was hunting. She saw him and recognized him as her own son, now grown a young man. She stopped and felt inclined to embrace him. As she was about to approach, he, alarmed, raised his hunting spear and was on the point of transfixing her when Zeus, beholding, arrested the crime and, snatching away both of them, placed them in the heavens as the great and little bear. Juno was in a rage to see her rival so set in honour, and hastened to ancient Tethys and Oceanus, the powers of ocean, and in answer to their inquiries told thus the cause of her coming. Do you ask why I, the queen of your gods, have left the heavenly plains and sought your depths? Learn that I am supplanted in heaven. My place is given to another. You'll hardly believe me, but look when night darkens the world, and you shall see the two of whom I have so much reason to complain, exalted to the heavens, in that part where the circle is the smallest, in the neighbourhood of the pole. Why should anyone hereafter tremble at the thought of offending Juno, when such rewards are the consequences of my displeasure? See what I have been able to effect. I forbade her to wear the human form, and she is placed among the stars. So do my punishments result. Such is the extent of my power. Better that she should have resumed her former shape, as I permitted Io to do. Perhaps he means to marry her and put me away. But you, my foster parents, if you feel for me and see with displeasure this unworthy treatment of me, show it, I beseech you, by forbidding this guilty couple from coming into your waters. The powers of the ocean assented, and consequently the two constellations of the Great and Little Bear moved round and round in heaven, but never sink, as the other stars do, beneath the ocean. Ooh. So the reference here is both to the pole star as the guide of mariners and to the magnetic attraction of the north. And the reason why the Ursa Major and Ursa Minor always remain in the visible constellations of the sky and never sink below the equatorial line, I believe, or the polar line. Significant other equals succulent oranges. significant SO, significant other, yeah. Don't bang on the bars, please. No banging on the bars in horny jail. Anna Banana, do not worry. You are not in jail. You are witnessing your man in jail from the other side. Muffins in there. Good night, Walker. Talk to you later. Have a wonderful evening yourself. Good night, good night. What is it? It's fine. I get confused all the time. That concludes our reading for this evening, but you will be interested to know that the next story that I have planned for you are Artemis and Action. Oh, yes, we are going with my patron goddess. After that, we have some glorious tales of Baucis and Philemon. King Midas himself, my goodness, and I believe once we make it to chapter 4, 5, we will be moving forward into past where I read last time. I'm not in solitary. I put you all in the jail. I hold the keys. Should I jingle them so you can hear how much control I have over the horny corner? You're all in trouble in the horny corner for a reason. Walker, I see you making eyes at Muffin. Muffin, I see you making eyes at Anna. And Anna, I see you making eyes at me, baby. Oh my goodness. Oh, absolutely, Kyle. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, I've got 2 horns. That's why I'd be in horny jail. I'd be the queen of the horny jail then, wouldn't I? I'd be the queen of the enjailed kingdom. How in the heck did my 2 cats end up back in my manor room? My goodness gracious. I am not in jail. I am Yoshi Shiratori. I don't know who that is. Let's finish off the night with a little bit of whispering, shall we? Kitty cats. Kitty cat, cat, cat. Yes, they are in the room with me. They are in the room and they look very comfortable, all curled up on my couch behind me. Like all of my delicious souls should be. That is cringe, Kyle. I'm not going to repeat that. Exactly. Powerful women are where it's at. That's why Muffin likes Arlecchino. That's why I like Arlecchino. That's why everyone bows down to Ride and Shogun. I thought I was a powerful woman. And then I started playing Genshin. That's how I know. They've evolved to ignore it. Yeah, that's the truth, honestly. I'm a woman, I'm always right. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me this evening. I do hope you enjoyed your time in my library. I have so enjoyed having your company with me. It's been a wonderful time, and thank you once again to my wonderful members, my patrons, and my Goblin King for sorting out my tech. But patrons, you do have the Master's Kitten set that's just been released with the photo set and the audio, which is a ramble fap actually, so it is what it is. Don't judge me. And then members, you can expect either an audio or a live stream over the weekend. I haven't decided which I'm doing yet, I do want to do a card reading for you all, so I feel like a live stream with a hand cam might be a suitable option, but we'll see how my laptop treats me. If it is giving me grief, I will record an audio, but if it's not giving me grief, I will come and do a live stream exclusively for members, probably on Saturday or Sunday. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It is that time of the evening, a bit of a shorter stream this eve. I would normally go for 3 hours, but I have had a bit of a hectic week. I've had a very hectic week, and I kind of just want to melt into some video games without everything going wrong. Ladies, Anna, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Everyone, feel free to take some snacks with you. Be careful going home. I have some car keys here. Whose keys are these? Everyone, you're allowed out of horny jail now. You can go home. You don't have to stay, but you don't have to leave. I don't know what that saying is. Oh, you don't have to leave, but you can't stay here. Alright, take care, everyone. I love you very much. I will see you next time, which will be Tuesday, 10 PM JST. Come and join me for some video games.